Yo, god damn it. What is up? Mr. Spade here, and I live in an igloo in Canada. We are back with the Unreal Tournament show. The show where I talk about Unreal Tournament, play some Unreal Tournament, and you know what? Just have a good time. Play the game of Unreal Tournament all the way up from the original, which I have yet to show you guys, which is going to be awesome when I do, all the way up into the newest one, which is Unreal Tournament 2003, which you guys have seen from me. We're playing some 2004 again, guys, and last episode I showed you some Unreal Tournament 2004 Double Domination Action Game Mode. This game we've got some bombing run, but I'm not going to get into the game yet. I'm going to get into sort of the mechanics behind Unreal Tournament, because a lot of you guys were a little confused about what was going on, and that's probably my fault because I just assumed that this game was pretty self-explanatory, but this is a game that I've grown up with, and I just can't make assumptions like that because a lot of you guys have been Call of Duty guys forever, and that's been your bread and butter, so you don't really know a lot of other games aside from that, FPS shooters I mean, so other FPS shooters are a bit more confusing for you, and that's partly my fault. So I'm gonna get into the breakdown of what this game is, like what the heck is going on here. I don't know. So we're gonna start with the HUD, guys. Now the HUD, as you probably do know, is the sort of mini-map slash ammunition shower slash other things that you see around your screen that you would not see in real life. But in a video game, it's pretty damn necessary to have them in there because you can't just look down at your gun and see how much ammunition you have left. You actually have to see it in a digital number because, well, you're playing on a flat screen, guys. You're not playing in real life. It's not 3D. You can't just look down at your gun. You can't open the latch. You say, oh, look at that, I have very little ammo left. You have to know how much ammo you have, and they can't do that except for conveying it through a HUD. Now, let's talk about these. Let's start with the HUD, shall we? The HUD in the top left-hand corner. Let's start with that. So, that little tiny clock with the time counting down, I thought you would understand what that is, but you know what? I'm going to cover it anyways. It's the timer. Yes, that's right. The countdown of the clock is a timer. What a shock. But that shows you guys how much time is left in the game for you to complete your objective, whether it be killing people for deathmatch, or whether it be capturing a flag for capture the flag, or whether it be capturing, I don't know, whatchamacallit, the domination points for double domination. So that tells you how much time you have left to finish your objective and score the top amount of goals. Once that reaches 0, whoever has the most points by the end wins the game. So there's no overtime, nothing like that. It's the same as Call of Duty. Whoever has the most points by the time limit, or whoever gets there before the time limit, wins the game. So let's go to the middle of the hub now that I've explained the time limit. I don't need to go into detail anymore about that, I don't think. The top middle of the HUD, that shows you pretty much your objective of the entire game. Now, the two things on the right, those that say 0 right now with the tiny little emblems beside them, those are your team emblems plus the number of points each team has. Now, if you're blue team and your team has more points on your blue by the blue emblem, that's good. It means you're winning. But if you're red team, not so good. So that's pretty self-explanatory. It's like the team deathmatch slash sort of score limit thing in the bottom left-hand corner, I believe it is in Call of Duty. Yeah, it's bottom left-hand corner, except this time it's on the top middle instead of the bottom left. So the thing in the middle, that's probably a bit more confusing to you. The thing in the middle is like your radar, sort of, except it's a circle and it's not very descriptive at all. It tells you the direction of your objective in which you want to be going. So the little tiny gold flashing light, it looks like kind of like a strobe light, that tells you the objective of the objective direction that you need to be going. So if you're facing south and your objective is north, that means the arrow will be facing behind you. So it's telling you that they want you to go into that direction to get to your objective. So, next thing we want to cover is the guns at the bottom, the gun toolbar, as you could say. So the gun toolbar, it's where all the guns show. The guns that you have, the guns that you don't have, and how much ammunition is left in the gun. The gold progress bar tells you how much ammunition is left in the gun, and the blacked out guns are the guns that you don't have yet. Each gun is very sort of cool in this game because there's so many of them, and there's 2 different fire rates for every single gun. The left fire mouse button is just the regular fire, and that's your just regular old general-to-mill fire rate. So in regular FPS shooters on first-person shooters for PC, the right mouse button is the actual fire button, and the left mouse button is the fire button, and the right mouse button is the zoom button. But instead of there being a zoom button in this game, it's an alternate fire, which means it has a different sort of ammunition to it, which means there's not really 10 guns or 15 guns or something like that. There's more like 20 guns or 30 guns, because each fire rate, each alternate fire, makes the gun entirely different. It changes the entire feel of the gun and the way you have to use that gun. So it adds a whole nother strategy to this game, because there's so many different types of guns that you can use for different situations, and a bunch of different fire rates for each situation that you can use, which is very neat, and it's one of my favorite aspects about this game. So the last thing on the HUD is the thing in the top right hand corner, those little tiny pills with a number beside it. Now these are called adrenaline points. You get adrenaline points from killing people, capturing objectives, and just picking them up around the map. They're the tiny little pills, you can find them around the map, and you can get them through killing people. Now when you get to 100, it says adrenaline full, and this means you can use your adrenaline to benefit you in a positive way. So what this means is you can get a whole bunch of different power-ups based on your adrenaline. Now the main power-up that they tell you about in basic training is called the speed booster power-up. This power-up allows you to have a short burst of speed for a limited amount of time. It's very useful when capping objectives and playing offensively. The next most common power-up is called the booster. Now the booster allows you to sort of regenerate your health over time, and it's very useful for defensive play and for when you're holding down an objective. The last two are called Berserker and Invisibility. Berserker adds a little bit of damage to your gun, and Invisibility, well, makes you invisible. I thought that one was pretty obvious. So it's not as simple as you would think to get all of these sort of power-ups though. What you have to do is you have to end up inputting a certain code into your movement keys to use each power-up. Now the forward one, if you hit the forward button 4 times, which is the W button, that gives you the speed boost. If you hit the backward button 4 times, that gives you the booster. If you hit the right button twice and the left button twice, that gives you invisibility. And finally, if you hit the top button twice and the bottom button twice, that gives you Berserker. Or maybe it's bottom button twice and top button twice. I don't know. I don't use that one. I don't find it very helpful. Yeah, my gun is fine without the extra damage boost. I can do fine with it, as demonstrated by this game. You will see me use the speed booster, I think, a couple times in this game. Really helpful for objective play. So I've explained pretty much the basis behind this game. Now I'm going to go into the game mode. I don't have much time left, so let's try and talk about this as quickly as we can. So what we're playing right now, as I said earlier in this video, is Bombing Run! Bombing Run is one of my favorite game modes, actually, in all of the Unreal Tournaments overall. Out of the original, Unreal Tournament 2003, 2004, and finally Unreal Tournament 3 is my definite favorite out of all of them. The reason is because it's very fast-paced and high action-packed. There's a lot of kills to be had because the bots are freaking stupid, let me tell you that. There's guys that they just pretty much ignore you and go only for the person who's holding the bomb at the time. So the bomb is the thing you're trying to run towards the goal, is the thing you want to get. Now that's the little tiny orb that you see circling around people that sort of looks like a bunch of atoms circling around people. This is the objective. What you want to do at the very beginning is try and get this as quickly as possible and try and run it to the opposite team's goal. Now it spawns in the middle of the map, and it spawns as a little tiny yellow orb. When you pick it up though, it shows the entire person encompassed by this orb, and depending on which team you are, it'll show up as blue or red. Now, there is 2 things that you need to remember while carrying the bomb. The first thing is that when you have the bomb in your hand, you cannot fire your regular gun, which means you can't do damage to the enemy. The second thing, which is actually a perk for you, is it regenerates your health as you run through the map. So, when you have the bomb on you, it slowly picks up health one at a time. But this isn't really too helpful when you have the entire enemy team crowding down on you, trying to chow on your chinga. And I don't know what chinga is, just ignore me. When an entire enemy team is trying to kill you, getting 1 health at a time is not very helpful at all. So I pretty much just ignore that perk. I just try and get to the enemy team enemy spawn as fast as possible, unless you're using God mode. But if you're using God mode, you're just a freaking cheater, and I disgrace you, because God mode is a cheap way to play this game. So in order to score a goal, you have to either jump through the enemy team's goal, which is a bit different than some of the ways you would have thought to score a goal, or fire it into the net. firing it into the net gives you a little bit less points than jumping into it. I think it's 3 points for firing it into the net and 7 points for jumping into the net, which is very cool. As you can see, my teammate, he just sort of went all commando style and jumped right into the net and got us 7 points. The last thing I'd like to mention about this game mode is while you have the bomb, you can end up passing it to other teammates. So I described this game as best I can. I hope you tune in for next time. Next time we will be talking about the campaign of this Unreal Tournament 2004. I'm out, guys. Peace. I hope you enjoyed.